How's it going, everybody? My name is Ganondorf. Look, it's right there. Since Monster Hunter Wilds is coming out eventually, I figured that I would come down here. I would come down from the lofty heavens of which I abide in, and I would teach you how to play the fancy the hunting horn. Yes, we're gonna learn how to play hunting horn today, everybody. Do keep in mind that this tutorial is not going to be all-encompassing, and you're basically going to be expected to have already played Monster Hunter before and understand what all of these terms and concepts and everything. You gotta know all of this. Especially when we get into the later parts of this tutorial, you're really gonna need to know how skills and armor sets and all that stuff already work, and I'm gonna tell you how to build a good one. Also, as a note going forward, I have a mod installed that changes the displayed letter on the face buttons. This is because my controller has the Nintendo-style layout of buttons, not the Xbox layout. So my buttons are labeled correctly on my screen, even though they still look like Xbox buttons. For the rest of this video, I'm just going to refer to the X button as the top face button and the A button as the right face button, just to make it a little bit more simple. Anyway, let's just go ahead and stop beating around the bush. Let's go ahead and accept a quest. Let's jump right in and let's hunt a monster. All right, so immediately we spawn in front of a Glavenus. That's a little bit fucked. So let's go fight the Rathian instead. I don't really feel like fighting this guy right now. And so we're just going to, first and foremost, absolutely, completely, royally fuck up that wall splat and freeze. We got something we got to explain already. See up there in the left-hand corner, that is your musical staff. This is the unique mechanic for the hunting horn. And true to its name, the hunting horn is in fact an instrument. And the songs you play are instrumental, haha, to your success as a hunter. Top face button gets you one note, the right face button gets you another note, and both buttons together gives you a third note. For every attack that you do, it plays a note alongside it on the musical staff. And if you play the correct notes in the correct order, that plays a song. But this isn't Monster Hunter Rise. The songs themselves don't actually activate on their own. In order to get the effects of the song, you need to press the right trigger, and then your hunter will start playing the songs that you've queued up. And only then will the effect of the song actually activate. So that's the general flow. You attack in a specific order to start queuing up songs in your music queue, and then you can spend that queue to start playing songs and activating buffs. But you are not invincible while you are playing songs. If a monster decides to, I don't know, smack you with its tail, hit you with its claws, roar, or if, like, a little piece of shit cat decides to hit you out of nowhere, you're gonna get knocked out of this state and your songs are just not gonna finish. The vibes of this attack are all kinds of fucked up, so you're not gonna get any effects. And if you go in your HUD display and enable the button guide over here, you can see in the top right corner, when you unsheath your hunting horn, you can see a list of all of the songs that you can play on your hunting horn. You can also go into equipment info down here, and you can see a list of all of your songs here on the last page of your equipment. So you can do it the old-fashioned way, how we used to do before World, and you can do the new way with the button guide open. Either one's fine. It'd be really easy for you, though, to just have the button guide on and just see all the songs while you're playing. Capcom, for Monster Hunter Wilds, can you allow me to see this song list without having the button guide on? That'd be much appreciated. Thank you. I don't like the button guide, but I want to have the notes always visible. But there also is something else we have to understand. The encore mechanic. So each song can actually be played 2 times, and you can stack the buffs on top of each other. Usually when it comes to a health boost or a damage boost, it usually goes from large to extra large, small to medium, or whatever. It just numerically increases the value of said buff. We're going to refer to this stacking mechanic as a level 1 song and level 2 song for the time being. And at a glance, you can tell exactly which songs are level 1 or level 2. You always want them to be level 2, but you can see if they're level 2 or level 1 based on the color of their name. Gray means inactive, green means level 1, purple means level 2. And if you don't have the button guide enabled, then there will be all of these icons on the top of your screen denoting which buff is active and which one isn't. I'm not going to sit here and bore you with showing you every single icon that can possibly appear, but just know that this is another quick way to just see which ones are active and which ones aren't if you don't have the button guide. But how do you do an encore? Well, if you press the right trigger while you're playing songs, you will start to encore the songs and play them all a second time. You'll effectively restart the motion. You'll do another swing, do some more damage, and start playing the songs all over again. The difference being is that when you first play the songs, you sort of go down the list. You'll play the first song, second song, third song, or wherever you happen to start on the queue. But for an encore, you'll play all the songs you just played simultaneously. So if you play 2 songs in the queue and then encore, you'll play both songs at once. Same thing if you play 3 songs in an initial song play and you encore it, you'll play all 3 songs at the same time. Encore is a vital hunting horn mechanic, allowing you to stack up every single buff at once, play them all in quick succession, and stack up as many buffs as possible and keep them up to date whenever they happen to run out. Because yes, the buffs do eventually run out, and it'll be on you to constantly be playing your songs and keeping these buffs active, not just for yourself, but for your party members as well. Speaking of that, I should note that the range of your hunting horn songs is not infinite. Your hunting squad has to be within basically the same area as you to get the effect of the buff. But a quick way to know if they're in range or not is if you look at their name on the party member list and you see this little icon next to their name, they're in range and they will get all the buffs that you play. But exclusive to Monster Hunter World and presumably in Monster Hunter Wilds is the new Echo note. So after you play any note on the board, if you hit the left trigger, you'll do this weird fucking spinning motion. Here, let me do it again. And this spinning motion does a lot of damage. It also puts a very unique note on your staff up there. And in case it's not entirely obvious from the UI, if you play one of these next 2 notes, then you'll get one of these next 2 special songs. And when you actually play the songs, they'll leave behind these little, the game calls them echo waves, but fuck that shit. No, these are bubbles. It leaves bubbles behind. These songs are very powerful, but they're not going to automatically activate when you play the song. Instead, you and your teammates have to walk through these bubbles in order to get the effects of the buff. Your only real limitation is the list of songs that comes with your hunting horn. But how do you know that? Well, let's head to the box and figure that out. Each hunting horn has a semi-unique list of songs. And the songs are arguably more valuable and more important to understand than the actual stats of the weapon. Don't get me wrong, good attack, good sharpness, affinity, and elemental damage are all going to be very important when you're picking the right horn. But if you have a horn that might not be the best in terms of damage or status or affinity or whatever, but has the perfect list of songs, I would still argue it's more important to prioritize the song list than it is the actual stat of the weapon. I wouldn't want to fight Kushala Daora without a wind pressure negated song. That's just me. And if you're unsure of which horn to bring for which monster, I would recommend doing a little bit of studying, maybe experiment with different types of horns to see which songs get you the best results. And if you're in a full hunting party, there's nothing wrong with communicating to your party saying like, hey, I'm looking to bring a hunting horn, I'm not quite sure which one I should go for, which one I should bring to this hunt. What buffs do you guys want to have for your weapons? Because at the end of the day, Monster Hunter is a co-op game, so like, why wouldn't you communicate with your party? But if you're playing alone, there's nothing wrong with bringing a horn that gives good old attack up large. This hunting horn that I was showing off here in the beginning, this is just the default base iron hunting horn, but max upgraded. And each song that you have on your hunting horn is pretty self-explanatory. Attack boost large, health boost large, negate wind pressure, things like that. But the one that isn't super evident right at the front of it is self-improvement. So when you're playing a hunting horn, you might think to yourself, oh, this is really slow, this is really sluggish, I'm not really feeling this power, this swiftness, this sheer godhood that is being described in this video. But the thing is, you need to play your self-improvement song. This is a buff that's only going to affect you. Your party members are not going to see the benefits of this. But this is your most important song. Once you play this song, you will have a noticeable speed buff. You're gonna be as fast as you would with your weapon put away. Like, it is a pretty noticeable boost. But that's not all. If you encore this song and get the level 2 buff, you'll get attack up plus deflected attack prevention. What does that mean? Basically, it means you're dealing more damage and your weapon will never bounce. You know that thing when you have low sharpness on a weapon and you go to attack like a particularly thick hide on a monster and you bounce off for a little bit? Well, Hunting Horn doesn't have that, straight up. one of the only weapons in the game that has this ability alongside switch axe in sword mode. So self-improvement needs to be enabled at all times. And so that's all the information that you need to know, but there's more beyond just the controls and like how the songs work and how to play songs, stuff like that. You can find all of this in a menu. The real question is, what does an average hunt look like, and what are you trying to look out for while you're playing the hunting horn? Best way I can describe what hunting horn gameplay is like is you're a hammer, but you also play a bunch of funny songs while you hammer. And if you play hammer, then you're already familiar with the concept of, I'm not fighting a monster, I'm fighting a head with a monster attached to it. As a hunting horn player, you're going to be joining your hammer friends directly in front of the monster, trying to be as close to its head as possible. But you're not going to be dealing as much KO damage as the hammer. Your priority is to deal damage and get those songs up and ready and maintain those songs throughout the hunt. This means playing songs and activating encores while you're directly in front of a monster. You just have to do that. Because let's be honest, no one likes that guy who sits in the corner with wide range enabled and just constantly chugging down all the potions and all the armor skins and demon drugs they can and contribute very little else to the hunt. Not only is it bad manners, you're also denying your horn its true purpose. Because the hunting horn deals a lot of damage, dude. I assume based on Capcom's marketing and word of mouth, then you probably might already have a conception in your head of what the hunting horn actually is, and I'm sure a lot of you believe that the hunting horn is primarily a support-type weapon. Take it from someone who has played the hunting horn in pretty much every Monster Hunter game I can. Freedom Unite, 3 Ultimate, 4 Ultimate, Generations, World, Rise, and definitely going to be maining it in Wilds. Hunting horn is not just a support weapon. But why? Because so far, all the things I've described have been good, but not exactly overpowered or super strong like I've been suggesting the entire video. But there's a deeper hidden mechanic that gives the hunting horn its true strength: its high motion values. A motion value is... Christ, how do I explain this? Okay, so every swing of every weapon has a motion value attached to it. This number is effectively a percentage value of the true raw damage of a weapon. It could be something like 35, it could be 40, it could be 60, it could even be 90, but it's almost never 100. Basically, what you need to know with this video is that every attack the hunting horn does will be, on average, higher motion value than any other swing from any other weapon. You might think that that doesn't really make any sense. You're playing the funny horn. Why would you have the highest motion values of any weapon in the game? Well, it's basically how Monster Hunter balances its damage throughout the hunt, and the fact that the hunting horn doesn't really have a big move, so to speak. But what do I mean by big move? Well, let's take the Charge Blade, for example. Basically, the entire time you're playing Charge Blade, you're working towards getting the big move off. You're charging your files, you're getting the charge into your shield, you're charging your files some more, you're banking shit up, all to do this. That's the big move. It's the thing that you build up towards for the duration of the hunt. You might think that'd be a downgrade, right? You don't have anything that you're working towards for the hunt, but no, you are. You're working to keep your buffs maintained. And so when you have your buffs maintained and you allow yourself to play the weapon the way it wants you to, you can get some big damage and some big effects going. And you can maintain those for the entire hunt, not just one big burst of damage. You are consistently strong throughout the whole hunt as long as you maintain your buffs. So you want to maintain aggression on the monster's head, dealing a ton of impact damage and getting the occasional KO, while also finding time in between attacks and in between swings of the monster to keep those buffs up and running. And this is just from the perspective of like solo play. If you've got an entire hunting party behind you and you've got like a great sword, a hammer helping you getting KO damage, you have a charge blade in there getting some good element damage in there, brother, you can do some insane shit. You basically are the backbone of any good hunting party. You're not just making yourself better, you're making the entire party better. But what skills should you bring? What armor set should you be building towards? How do you properly build a hunting horn set? Well, there are a lot of ways to get around this. Here is my current main armor set for Hunting Horn. Normally, I would have the Light Break Timbre. I don't know how to pronounce words. Normally, I'd have this one equipped, as this weapon has 2 level 4 slots, or a level 4 and a level 3 slot, so I can have a level 7 Agitator. But here are the skills I'd recommend you prioritize for Hunting Horn. First notable skill, and arguably the most important skill in the game for Hunting Horn, is Horn Maestro. Pretty easy to understand, just increases the effect duration of Hunting Horn melodies, allowing you to focus more on dealing damage and hitting the monster's head, getting those sweet KOs and everything, instead of constantly playing your songs all the time. You still are gonna need to play your songs a bunch, but if you can lessen that amount of time it takes for the buffs to wear out, it's always a good thing. You always, always, always want Horn Maestro. Genuinely, sacrifice everything in the name of getting Horn Maestro to work. You'll thank me. Now, an easy thing to say is you might want to tack on some Slugger. You know, considering you do KO damage, wouldn't it be better to get more KOs throughout the hunt and do more stun damage? And you'd think, right? You would think that having more Slugger damage, more stun damage would be a good thing, but in my experience and in practice, usually it doesn't really matter a whole lot. While I'll agree that there are a lot of ways you can play this game and that, in general, there's really no wrong way to play a weapon, if you really want to play a stun-oriented, KO-focused Hunting Horn build, why aren't you playing Hammer? Instead, I would recommend you focus on Evasion. And the reason I'm suggesting Evasion specifically is because during an average hunt, you want to try your best to never put your horn away. So if you have some points in, let's say, Evade window, you won't need to put your weapon away as much as you would without it. Because you'll be taking less hits, meaning you won't have to heal as much, meaning you can have your weapon out more, meaning that you can play more songs and deal more damage. And having a little bit in Evade Extender would probably not be the worst thing in the world either. I personally wouldn't prioritize it over Evade Window. I would say that one would get you a lot more bang for your buck than Evade Extender. Quick Sheath is also another good to have, one that I have on my personal Hunting Horn set, but it's one that if I could sacrifice to get better skills, I'd probably do that. The only reason I have it is because I have a couple of level 4 gems that give me Quick Sheath on top of the skills I already want, so, you know, might as well just take it. Speed Sharpening is also a very good one. You know, a lot of Hunting Horns have low purple and white sharpness from my experience, so being able to just quickly get that stuff back up and running when you start sounding a little flat, haha, is another good thing to have. Speed Sharpening, very good skill to have. And then obviously, like Weakness Exploit, Critical Boost, Critical Eye, Monster Hunter World really, really loves crit builds and Weakness Exploit builds, especially because you're going to be focusing on the head primarily when you're dealing damage. Like, those are just kind of no-brainers. If you're looking to build an armor set, Weakness Exploit, Critical Boost, Critical Eye, those are the 3 that, like, you're just gonna need in your endgame sets anyway, so got another recommendation here. In conclusion, the 3 skills that I would highly recommend that you bring in are Horn Maestro, Evade Window, and Weakness Exploit. You want to keep those songs up and running as long as you can. You want to be able to evade without having to put your weapon away, so you can be ready to play more songs, and you want Weakness Exploit just because you're going to be bonking the head, so get more damage on those weak points. And since we're here, you know, let's go over some pro tips and pro tricks that'll help you out and just be that little bit better at Hunting Horn. So whenever you're holding forward and press the right face button, being either A, B, or circle, you'll do this double upswing. Pro tip number 1, you can actually sneak a second input into that second swing. So you can do either just 1 note, or you can do 2 notes. And a lot of songs actually allow you to sneak this double input there and be just that little bit more efficient with your swings. Pro tip number 2, depending on the direction of the control stick you hold while you're playing your encore, you will get different swings that each have different motion values and different movements that are applicable during different parts of the hunt. So if you really play your cards right, you can use your encore to dodge an attack from an incoming monster, which is just so sick. Speaking of encore, those swings will have the highest motion values on top of having a double shockwave hit on top of it. So your best damaging moves are gonna be your encore swings. Pro tip number 3, don't worry about getting all your songs and buffs readied up before you go tackle a monster. Just If you need to have something before you go in, get your self-improvement buffs going, and while you're in the hunt, start playing the songs you need for your buffs. It may not seem like you're being more efficient, but it would be much better for you to just be in the hunt playing the songs than it would be to waste like 40 seconds to a minute and a half just getting all your songs ready. You know what I mean? Pro tip number 4. Much like your encores, your weapon swings are going to be different based on what direction of the analog stick you hold. So if I'm standing still and press both of the attack buttons at once, it'll do this sort of backswing kind of move where you swing the weapon up and behind you. So if the monster happens to go behind you, just do a standing double attack right here and you'll actually hit behind you. But if you're holding forward while you do it and you press both buttons, you'll do sort of a swing up and swing down motion. I prefer to use this move when a monster is stunned or down in some way, whether you get it off a wall splat or a successful mount or something like that. Pro tip number 5, you don't have to play the encore if you want to get a level 2 song. If you have 2 songs up in your queued song list and you play all 3 of them, you don't need to hit the encore to get the level 2 Divine Protection. So if you don't want to or don't have time to play an encore and you want to kind of set things up beforehand, you can just play a song twice in your queued song list and you'll still get the same effect as an encore. Pro tip number 6. If you're running with your horn put away and you press the top face button, in my case X, you'll take your weapon out and play a note alongside it, allowing you to sort of just kind of get into a song right as you take your weapon out. But what if there are moments where you don't want to play that note? Let's say I'm in this position right here and I'm running up to a monster and I'm trying to get some attacks in, but I don't want to ruin the queued song list I have up here with the self-improvement. I've already got level 2 self-improvement, why would I want to play it now? I would rather play these 3 songs. Well, that little lunging forward attack only happens when you're holding forward and you press X, or the top face button. But if you're standing still and you press the attack button, you don't play a note. So if you're running for a monster, just let go of the analog stick and then take your weapon out. You would be surprised at how many times I do this exact thing to not ruin my song list. Pro tip number 7. Take the broad strokes of this tutorial to heart, but the finer details you might want to take with a bit more of a grain of salt, because who knows how much of this stuff is going to be changed when Monster Hunter Wilds comes out. And really, that's kind of it. I wanted to give sort of a basic outline of what to look out for, what you need to keep in mind while you play Hunting Horn, and mainly what you represent. You're not going to be dealing the most damage out of the party, but you can make the person who is going to do the most damage deal that much more. And even if you decide to play Hunting Horn by yourself, you have high enough base damage and good enough swings on your weapons that you can get some fantastic results if you play your cards right. Here, hold on, where's my guild card? Let me show, hold on. Look at that, Hunting Horn is my most used weapon on this profile by far. So don't let anyone tell you that you can't get anywhere by playing Hunting Horn or maining Hunting Horn. Also, I don't really know where to put this, so I'm just gonna put it right here, but holy fuck, the new Hunting Horn looks sick as hell with the echo waves being expanded to as big as they are, and like they do little shock waves afterwards, and the way that the encores are just so much faster. You can do multiple encores apparently, and the way the hunter just leans into his run, that's a really minor thing that I noticed, but like, look at how he leans into the turn on his run. Like, what the fuck? This game is gonna be fucking awesome. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope you learned some new things about my favorite weapon in the game, and I hope that this tutorial helps encourage you to sort of branch out and try some new things. Try a weapon that is severely underutilized in the meta of Monster Hunter, I'll say. And at the end of this video, I want to give a special shout out to the YouTube lads who support me directly and get a whole bunch of perks on top of supporting me directly. Y'all really help out a lot more than you think you do, so I very much appreciate it. Thank you very much. If you want to become a YouTube lad yourself, you can go ahead and follow the link down below this video, and all the YouTuber stuff, like, subscribe, comment, all that garbage. It actually does help a lot more than you would expect. And let me know if you've ever played Hunting Horn before. Let me know if you play Hunting Horn right now. Let me know if you're a main. I would love to see more Hunting Horn mains out there, so if you are that already, please let me know. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day.